What is up, everybody? Welcome to this Monday night edition of Happy Hour at Happy Hour, and we are back again with some March Madness coverage. It is Elite Eight time. I already talked about this last Monday. Whatever. It's so nice that we're getting Elite Eight games on a Monday night rather than a Saturday and Sunday. I'd rather have the Monday and Tuesday. I'm all in on Monday and Tuesday for these games rather than the Thursday and Friday. Like, this is great. Monday, start the week off with some huge basketball games. We're starting off 7:15, Oregon State, 8-point underdogs against Houston. And then later on tonight, we get the Baylor Bears and the Arkansas Razorbacks. But we're going to kick it off with Oregon State and Houston. I'm joined by my co-host of Happy Hour Hoops, Donovan Holden. We've got Meerkat going around the horn here, Ty B, and some guy named Steve. And we'll start with you, Stevie. We've got Oregon State and Houston. Oregon State been on an absolute tear since the Pac-12 tournament. Nobody, I want to see did any of us have at Oregon State even going past the Sweet 16? Like, I feel like no one even had them in the Sweet 16. This is like unreal, but it really isn't that unreal when you start watching them play and like just the way they've been playing in this tournament so far. They've looked great. They're hitting the three ball like crazy. So what are you looking for in this matchup tonight?
Well, I think to your point, the only person who probably has him as far right now is Bill Walton, and he's proven us all wrong yet again with 3 Pac-12 teams in the Elite Eight. It's ridiculous. But Oregon State, like I said this last time too, the thing that impressed me the most is their defense. They were ranked around 250th, according to KenPom, in defensive efficiency in the regular season, and they're up to 60th now. Now, I know 60th doesn't seem like it's that great, but they moved up 190 spots in the span of 6 games in the Pac-12 tournament and the NCAA tournament. And Oregon State, I don't know where it came from, but I don't want to bet against this team. They've been an underdog for the 6 straight games. They won all 6 outright. They beat 6 teams that all went to the tournament. You had UCLA, Oregon, and Colorado in the Pac-12 tournament, and then they carried that over, beat Tennessee in the first round, who a lot of people thought was a top 10 team at one point in the season. Oklahoma State, who, they kind of shut down Oklahoma State for the most part, and Cade Cunningham, number 1 overall pick, they made it tough for him. And then just now they beat Loyola Chicago at their own game. Loyola Chicago slows you down, grinds you down, and makes every possession matter, forces turnovers, and Oregon State said, we'll just do that to you. Today they face Houston, another phenomenal defensive team who I was super impressed by how they shut down Syracuse. But I really don't want to pick against this Oregon State defense. I don't know what got into them, but they look like the best defense in the country right now.
Tybee, can you sell me on Houston a little bit here? Because he's got me leading Oregon State here. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you look at Oregon State, they've had a tremendous run, and they've been very hot. But, let's look at this. Let's look at their whole season. They start out awful early on. They lost at home to Portland. Portland is a team that is sitting around 300. I believe, in RPI. They have the worst loss out of any of the teams remaining by far because of that loss at home. And you think about it, Houston really excels defensively, and they shut teams down that way. And Oregon State so far, they've really been winning these games because they've gotten hot from behind the arc, shooting about 49%, just under it there at 39, I believe. And if Houston is going to force them into continuing to take tough shots, they're not going to continue to fall. Looking at shot quality, they should have lost that game to Loyola by 17, but instead, they're still dancing. So I think it's a great opportunity here for Houston to come and play a good game. I think Oregon State's going to come out and make it close at least, but I do think Houston's going to be able to get it done today.
Meerkat, what's your read so far? Like, how are you feeling going into this one tonight?
I'm with Stevie. The only way Houston covers this game and let alone win is if they catch heat from beyond the arc. And you look at Oregon State; they've been doing a good job this tournament, making teams uncomfortable from 3. And the big thing with Oregon State that I love is they're not relying on just one guy. They're getting contributions all over the court. And their record, regular season might not have been great, but they're 16. They're on a 16-3 run against the spread as underdogs tonight. I only care about them covering. I don't care if they win all over Oregon State. I mean, they're just a solid team, and Houston shouldn't even be here. Houston should have lost to Rutgers if it wasn't for the last 4 minutes of that game. And Rutgers is an awful team. For not during the tournament, but still, like Oregon State's a better team than that Rutgers team. Houston, they've relied on just like some streaky runs here and there, really, having to get it together when they need to. Will they be able to do this against Oregon State's defense tonight? I don't think so. I might sprinkle Oregon State to win in these next 5 minutes. I'm talking myself more into it, but I love them to cover tonight. I think we get a hell of a game.
Dunny, is the Bill Walton prophecy fulfilled tonight?
I don't know. I like Oregon State here, but I think I got to go with Houston too. Quentin Grimes, he's been the guy I've been riding with through the tournament the most. One of my favorite players in the tournament. I don't know. I don't like taking him -8.
Yeah.
Is it -8 or 8.5?
8.
It's 8.
I don't know. I feel like that's a big spread, and you guys honestly sold me on Oregon State a little bit. But I think if I were to pick one, I'd go Houston. Their defense, I think they'd be one that could lock down Oregon State. And like I said, I'm riding with Quentin Grimes.
Yeah, I think the over/under really low on this 129.5, right? And that's what it's going to be. Yeah. This is going to be like, I wouldn't be surprised if we're at like 55.
Didn't we have all unders Saturday and Sunday?
I think so.
I think so. Maybe
8 unders.
I think the last game Sunday might have hit the over.
Bama went over, right?
Because
the OT. Yeah,
that's it. Okay. That's it. Yeah. And that's what, like, every time I've looked at the shooting, like, anytime looking at the stats, like, the shooting percentages have not been good in any of these Sweet 16 games. Like, teams you can tell they're tight, and the defenses are just locking up. And both these teams are going to want it, like, Houston's going to want to grind this game out and just make it, like, slow and just make it a half-court game. And if Oregon State's not hitting those threes, like, those threes have been hitting. But, like, Stevie, we talked about this before the tournament started about how I'm, like, very skeptical of all the teams that rely on the three in the tournament. Right. Like, is tonight the night that it could happen for Oregon State, that it goes cold? I don't know if that's the case. I mean, it doesn't look like it has been so far, but you never know when one of those nights that it just comes up and they just if they're starting to clank it in the first 10 minutes here, we could really be in for like an ugly, just grind it out affair between these two teams.
Yeah.
So let's go around quick here, same order. Just give your picks here and just quick little sentence, and we'll move on to the big game tonight between the Baylor Bears and Arkansas Razorbacks.
I'm just gonna take the points. Oregon State +8.
Yeah, I'm taking Houston to win on the money line, and then I'm teasing Oregon State to +10.5, using in some stuff. Only -165 for the little bit of movement to get those extra points. Absolutely love it, just in case.
I just sprinkled a unit on Oregon State money line. I got Oregon State +10.5, Oregon State +11.5, Oregon State +8. I've been a mush this entire tournament, though, so who knows how it goes.
Love it. Everyone's sprinkling in their last-minute bets. I'm rather in Houston -8 here. I'm going to roll with Houston's defense and my guy, Quentin Grimes.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the points. I'll take Oregon State. I think Houston's gonna end up pulling it out and go to the Final Four. I would take that. I would hate taking this under. It's so low, but I would take that under too, just because I don't think these teams are gonna shoot well in this game at all. I think it's gonna be
love the under. Right. If I bet totals, I bet totals. I love the under. But I
all right, let's get into a game that's not gonna be a defensive grind fest at all. We got Baylor and Arkansas, two of the most explosive offensive teams in the country. Stevie, you were hyping up this matchup to us before the tournament started. Looking forward to it in the Elite Eight, and we got it here. What are you looking for tonight out of this matchup? I mean, it's pretty much all you could want in an Elite Eight matchup.
Yeah, I think this is just going to be trading blows the whole way. Baylor and Arkansas, I love both the styles they play. I think as the game goes on, they both continue to get better. You see that with Baylor just taking over games in the second half, forcing teams into turnover after turnover after turnover. And then Arkansas, I believe they've had 11 games this year where they've overcome a 9-point deficit and won. I mean, it's unbelievable what these teams can do when they face adversity. Baylor came back against Villanova, we saw previously, and then Arkansas against Oral Roberts. Lovely Oral Roberts. They just missed the game winner, but credit to Arkansas for getting themselves back in that game. I just think this game's going to be. I think it's going to be within a few points. I love Baylor. I love them all tournament. Like I said, the guards are probably three of my favorite players in college basketball. Davion Mitchell may be my favorite player to watch in college basketball. He may not be the best player, but he may be my favorite player to watch, just how he facilitates that offense. But really, I'm just going to keep riding Baylor. I said that people were kind of sleeping on them, saying they were going to lose early. Maybe North Carolina was going to beat them in the 8-9 matchup. They couldn't even get by Wisconsin. And Baylor just keeps, looking better each and every game. And it looks like the Baylor before their whole COVID pause. And that was probably the best team in college basketball, not named Gonzaga. So I love Arkansas. I think they're a great team. I just think the Baylor guards are going to be a little too much.
Yeah, I think Arkansas really played well down the stretch in the season, especially, ending out their SEC year the way that they did. But they haven't looked as good in the tournament as they were, coming down that stretch, really struggling to shoot just 38% against Oral Roberts, who, when you look at it statistically on the season, they gave up a decent amount of points to opposing teams and not against a tough schedule. So I do like Arkansas, though, because they get contributions throughout the lineup, 4 scorers over in the double digits. And I really love Justin Smith's efficiency. He's a 54% from the floor guy, and he's going to give you 13 points, get you some rebounds, do a little bit of everything for you. I think you're just really going to have to get that offense going again, something they haven't done in the tournament. But Jake, like you said, riding on the 3-point teams, this is kind of like, okay, Arkansas's offense hasn't done anything for 3 straight games.
Yeah,
I think they might figure it out tonight against Baylor.
I think Baylor runs them out of the gym tonight. I'm laying the points on Baylor, and I hate taking those points. Arkansas, I think, is kind of lucky to be here right now. You look at what they've done so far this tournament. Agnes's 3 goes in. They're gone. They win on a final possession against Texas Tech. They let Colgate hang around in the first round. This is a team, the offense has not a lot of consistency going on. Another run type of team. And I was down on Baylor before the tournament. I told you guys, I'm like, they're a team that, I don't think they've gotten better since the beginning of the season. Going to the tournament, I usually stay away from teams like that. Well, they didn't need to get better because they're friggin' incredible right now. And like you said, Arkansas just didn't look good. They only hit 1 3 against Oral Roberts, shot 38% as a team. Oral Roberts, not known for their defense, so let me tell you. And, I just think Mitchell and Butler are going to be able to abuse Arkansas's defense. It's going to be a huge game for Baylor's offense. I hate laying points like this. Was low on Baylor heading into the tournament. They proved me wrong. I'm taking it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Meerkat here because I feel like before we were approaching tournament season, all season long, it was Gonzaga and Baylor are head and shoulders above every other team. As the tournament approached, like that buzz started to die down for Baylor. And then here they are, just kind of dancing their way through the tournament. Every win's double digits. I mean, I don't know. I think you got to roll with Baylor here. Win big. I'm with Meerkat.
Yeah, and so we've seen like that. We were wondering before the tournament, like what these teams would look like, and like especially the 1 seeds when they really got tested. And it seems like the 3 teams that we thought were a step above everybody else are truly a step above. Michigan and Gonzaga and Baylor have shown that so far going into the Elite 8. I was with you, Ty. I was wondering about just Arkansas. Like they just haven't. I mean, they haven't looked great the first 3 games, and maybe tonight was the night that it just turns up. Like they really escaped. Like I'm trying to look at my sports karma like rating here with Arkansas because they have just scraped by in the last couple of games. And I honestly, that Oral Roberts shot, like that was as clean of a look as you can get to win a game. They just like. It could have just went so poorly in that moment for them. And so like what is it really? Is that going to be like a galvanizing moment for them where they come out tonight and are like, all right, we just got out of there, like let's come out here and show out, or is this team like a team that's fading and has just been getting by and just going to run into a freight train that is the Baylor Bears all year? So let's go with the game picks here. It's 7.5. I think I'm going with Baylor with you guys too. I don't like laying 7.5. And when I first saw it today, I was like, oh, like that's a big line. Like I thought this was going to be like a really, really close game. But I think it's going to be late. I think it's going to be a late pull away for Baylor. Like it'll be close. Like you were saying, Stevie, they'll be trading blows back and forth during the game. But I think Baylor eventually they're just going to be too much at the end of this game. I like the over too. I think it's going to be back and forth. The first half might be like the most exciting tournament basketball we've seen so far. But so let's go around here quick. We'll get our game picks and then we'll get out of here because Houston, Oregon State just tipped. It is 3-2 Houston early on here.
So I hate laying points in the tournament. I kind of did a little parlay fodder with Baylor, teasing Oregon State spread up a little bit and taking Baylor money line with that. I got it around I think plus 120, so it gives you decent odds on that. But if Oregon State comes out looks well, I'm gonna throw in Baylor spread as well.
Yeah, I'm going with Arkansas. I use them, tease them up a little bit in some parlays. I just think a team that averages over 80 points per game, I think they're going to keep it at least close in this one. I don't think Baylor's going to get them by double digits. I think they're going to have a little bit of a tougher time playing against a team that has an SEC roster. They have some big bodies on that team. They've banged with some of the best teams in the country all season long. Now it's really time to prove it. You go down to the wire with Oral Roberts. You got to figure it out. You go down, you get a little gumption, and you come out and you punch the Bears right in the face. And I think it's going to be a great first half in that one.
Yeah, I think we're going to get an entertaining game. We're going to get a lot of points, but I'm sticking with it. I think Baylor runs them out. I think this is the game. We see that Arkansas caught a lot of these breaks heading into this game, and that's what, could go either way. The sports karma or they're due, those arguments, but I just think Baylor is a well-oiled machine. I was a hater. They proved me wrong. And, get a little like Milwaukee Bucks scent from this Arkansas team. I'm not going to drop the F word, but...
And that's fraud, not fodder. Just to avoid the confusion. But yeah, I'm going Baylor. But I think they got a lot of hate towards the beginning. Like I said, they've been proving me wrong time and time again. As Ty B said, the Razorbacks are putting up around 80 points a game, so I like the over as well. I think this late night has a lot of points potential there, so Baylor and the over for me.
Yep. I'm riding with that too. All right, boys. So that will do it here as we're getting into the game here with Houston, Oregon State. So for Donovan Holden, Meerkat, Ty V, and Stevie, thank you all for joining this Elite 8 preview. Stay hydrated, get that free money, and let's get it rolling here, boys.
Free money.